Okay, guys, we are live. So let's begin. So, hey everyone, I'm Harshal Jain, your mentor at Geeks for Geeks. And guys, in this video, we are going to start with HTML. So, we are going to cover this in around 1 hour, maybe less or more, little bit. But yeah, we are going to simply complete this, and I'm going to cover all the important topics and almost everything in HTML which you might need for your further web development journey. Okay, so when I talk about HTML, I would say this is the first stepping stone, the first thing which any developer learns in their development journey. Even if you in future, if you want to go to mobile development, mobile app development, you can actually use HTML, CSS, JavaScript to learn further technologies like React Native to actually build mobile apps also. Okay, so it's something which you need. HTML is something which everyone must know as a developer, right? First thing, right? So now guys, I'm going to start directly with the definition of HTML. Then guys, we are going to start with some important topics. So let me just tell you directly what we are going to cover. Okay, what's the basic roadmap which I'm going to cover? So first of all guys, I'm going to start with introduction to HTML. We're going to discuss what is HTML. Like it's the backbone of web pages, it's like a skeleton of web page. There we add the CSS, then we add the JavaScript. Together the website works, but the basic skeleton is the HTML code, right? Then we are also going to discuss about basic terminologies like tags, elements, attributes, right? Then guys, the second unit would be based on basic structure of HTML document. We are going to discuss what's basic structure, like we see doc type, HTML tag, we have the body tag, we have the head tag. So we are going to discuss that. Okay, basic HTML file, what's the meaning of the basic HTML file, right? Then guys, we're going to discuss some essential tags which everyone uses, even a beginner would use, right? Like h1 tag, h2 tag, up to h6 tags. Then we have p tag. Then what's the use of m and strong and br, hr, some basic tags which you will use, right? Then guys, we're going to discuss about list tags, that is the ul tag, ol tag, and li tag. We're going to discuss about these tags. Then guys, we're going to discuss about the a tag, which is basically used for links, attributes, right? Then we are going to discuss about the img tag, which is used for showing the images. Here we have inside this we have some attributes like src and alt. Okay, then guys, we are also going to discuss about table tags. We have table tag, we have tr tag, td tag, th tag, some basic table tags which we use a lot. Then guys, after that you're going to discuss the forms and input elements. We have the form tag and we have the input tag in HTML. We are going to discuss that. We have text area, we have button tag, we have select tag, we have option tag. So all of these are tags which are used for making forms, like you have seen Google Forms, right? So similar to that, right? Then guys, we're going to discuss about inline styles, like what's an id, what's a class, and what's style used for, that is for the CSS part. Then guys, we are going to discuss about basic semantics, like we have header tag, we have footer tag, we have nav tag, we have main tag, we have section tag. So what's the purpose of these tags also we need to know, although mostly you're going to use the div tag, but you must know these tag also so that you can make SEO friendly websites. Okay, that means your website is search optimized. Okay, basically it means like your website would be ranked higher, simple. So for that we have some specific tags which any browser would, any search engine like Google would look for your website. Okay, so you have header tag, the nav tag. So Google search engine would look for that specific nav tag and the content inside the nav tag, so it makes the search engine search your website easily. Okay, that means your website would be found easily, that means it would rank higher. Okay, so for that we have some specific tags. Then guys, we are going to build a very simple page, web page, using all the above logics, all the above concepts which we are going to learn, right? So after that we are going to discuss some basic questions which you guys would ask me in the live chat. At the end of this video we are going to discuss those, so if you have any doubts or queries you can mention in the live chat. Okay, so let me just first of all check who is in the live chat. um Rafael, thanks for your work. Thanks, Rafael. Car gamer, hi. Hi, car gamer. uh Masrat, good evening, nice to see you. Can you please turn on the captions? Actually, it's handled by GFG team. So I think you can turn your captions on. Like, I think right now it's not available. I'll ask the team if it's possible, right? But right now I can just take the live directly. Okay, I don't have contact with them right now. But yeah, I'll tell them after the live session ends. I'll just ask them to change the settings. Fine. So let's continue, guys. We are going to start with the very first thing. Okay, very first thing. So let's continue. I am going to simply first of all show you where we are going to write the HTML code. So basically we are going to need an editor where we can write our code, right? So as a beginner, you might not know it. Hello, sir, Sandeep here. Okay. Hi, Sandeep. By the way, Sandeep Jan is the CEO of Geeks for Geeks, so your name matches with him, right? Okay. So what I was going to tell is I want to first of all tell you that is you need to install VS Code, the editor. You can also write HTML code in Notepad also, but that's something which is done in early 2000s. Now we have popular IDEs like VS Code where we can write our code. Either you want to write HTML or you want to write CSS or you want to write JavaScript or you want to write Java, C, C++, whatever you are preferring, okay, whatever you want to learn, you can write it in a IDE like VS Code. Okay, so it's always helpful. It would be used in a lot of purposes, not just HTML, right? So we are going to install VS Code, right? So I'm just going to open this website. Just need to install it, okay? Just download it and install it. So I'll just click on download for Windows, and then it's going to download that specific setup for Windows. Okay, so once it's downloaded, you just need to install the setup. So guys, you have any doubts or queries, feel free to mention in the live chat. Even if it's a very basic or lame doubt, don't worry, no one is gonna judge you. You can just ask all of your doubts in the live chat. I'm going to answer them throughout the session, and also at the end of the session, I'm going to just check some more doubts which you might have. Okay, so first of all, we need to install VS Code, and my VS Code is already installed, so I don't need to install it again. But yeah, you just need to install it. Just check all the checkboxes while installing the setup of VS Code. Okay, just make sure that once you install VS Code, what you need to do is you can just create a simple folder like this. Okay, you can just create a simple folder like this, right? And you can just open this with VS Code. Okay, just click on open with VS Code, and you can see that it would open like this. Okay, let me just open it again for you. So you might see something like this. So this folder would basically open inside VS Code. You can see the folder name, right? That's it. That's the first step which we wanted. The second step is creating a HTML file. So we are going to create a simple HTML file, and with the help of that, I'm going to explain you everything one by one. Okay. So I'm going to name this as index.html. By the way, you can name it anything, but the extension, the end part must be .html if you're creating an HTML file, right? If you have created the CSS file, it must be like styles.css. That means the end extension must be .css for CSS. Similarly for JS, it must be .js, right? So HTML files are represented by .html extension, right? So now guys, what we need to do is we need to simply create a simple boilerplate. So I'm just going to press shift. That means I want to just add the exclamation sign. Okay, shift and 1, that means exclamation sign, and hit enter. So you can see that I got my sample boilerplate, right? So it's an easier shortcut. So as a beginner, you might not be able to remember this, okay, but I would recommend please remember this, because what actually happened with me is when I was a beginner, it was 5 years or 6 years ago. What actually happened was I was really confident. Okay, I know HTML. I learned HTML in 2-3 hours. Usually it takes around 2-3 hours overall. Even if you take 1 week, you are going to spend 2-3 hours only to learn HTML properly. I think nothing more than that is needed, because rest part is going to be learned with the help of CSS and JavaScript, and would help you develop your skills with time. But yeah, initially to know basics about HTML, you would need 2-3 hours. So I was really confident when I learned HTML. But the one thing which I missed out was this boilerplate. What I did was, always every time what I do is I just use shortcut to actually write this. But what it actually does is I might not be able to remember exact wordings here. Okay, so I would say as a beginner, if you want to save time, that's fine, but I would say have a habit to write this at least for a few times as a beginner, right? If you have learned this, if you know, okay, this how to write this properly, then you can continue directly. Okay, so now first of all guys, I am going to start with the basic things which we have. Okay, the basic things which we have. So here you can see I'm going to discuss this, what's the purpose of doc type and what's the purpose of HTML. But overall, here you can see we have some common things. That is this opening tag. This is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. Similarly, this is the opening tag. Similarly, this is the closing tag. Opening tag, closing tag. That means basically you are playing around with tags. Okay. Overall. Okay. Overall, you are playing around with tags. So for example, I want to create a text. Okay. I want to create a text. So I'll go inside this body tag. So basically this is where body tag opens and this is the closing of body tags. Some tags are self-closing. You can see they don't have an extra like you can see that they don't have an extra meta tag here. Okay, that's not needed for some tags. Okay, so if you see a self-closing tag like this, don't be surprised. There are some tags which are self-closing. Okay, later on we'll encounter some more tags, but this is a self-closing tag. This is also a self-closing tag. This is not a self-closing tag because you can see this is opening and this is closing. Okay, so that's basic difference. Now I hope you know what are tags basically inside these signs. Okay, that's it. So for example, I want to create a text. I want to just write a simple text. So I want to write a name. So there's a tag named as h1 tag. Okay, so it's for headings, for big headings, for bold headings. Okay, if you want to show your name or some title, usually it's in bold headings, right? Bold, that means bigger size. So for example, if I write, hey there, I am Harshal Jain, right? So I've written my name and this would come in bigger size. So if I just want to run this, I want to show this to you. How can I do this? So for this, guys, you can just go to the extensions part and simply search for live server. Okay, so you just search for live server, right? You can see that this is going to simply by this user, you can simply run this. First of all, install this. So mine is already installed. You would get an install button here. Just install this. Okay, just go to this page and just click on install. It would be installed. Now what you need to do is come back to your HTML page and right click and open with live server. That's it. So you can see that this opens like this, right? You can see that I'm getting my name in bold big size. Okay, suppose I wanted it in small size. So what would I do? I would simply say I have, for smaller size, I have p tag. That means for normal text size which you see in the websites. Okay, so now if I come back again here, you can see that this one is smaller, this one is bolder. So usually you use h1 tag for titles. Okay, and this is for sentences or some normal words. Okay, but wait a minute, we are going to discuss these tags specifically, but right now you can see this is an opening tag and this is a closing tag. Similarly, this is an opening tag and this is a closing tag. I hope you are getting what's an opening tag and closing tag. Okay, a tag opens like this and a tag closes like this. Okay, so what's basically a tag? Tag are basically basic building blocks of HTML. They are enclosed in angle brackets. Okay, so by the way, we call it angle brackets. Okay, these are angle brackets. So these tags are enclosed in angle brackets, right? And tags are usually coming in pairs. You can see that this is a pair, right? This is another pair, but some tags don't come in pair. For example, we have the img tag. Img tag does not come in pairs. It does not have a pair. It is a self-closing tag. Img tag is a self-closing tag, right? That means we don't have a pair of img tag to actually close it. It's a self-closing tag. Okay, so these are some tags. But now what we are going to say is, we know tags. Now there is one more thing. Let me just write here. Right now we know about tags. Okay, we know about tags. Okay, one thing, guys, before this, I want to just tell you one short thing, which is, if you are a C++ programmer or any type of programmer, you might know about comments, right? Comments are basically, you can see that this is my page. Okay, this is my page. Right now my page looks like this, right? Suppose I don't want to show this line in my HTML page. What can I do? But I want to keep it here for reference. So what I'll do is, I'll just press Control and forward slash. Forward slash is nothing but this sign. Okay, just press this with Control. Okay, so you just press this with Control and you can see that your specific tag is inside a comment. Now what it really does is, it keeps your text as it is, but it doesn't show it in your website. That means it basically hides that specific thing. Okay, so it's helpful when you want to keep things for reference. For example, to do build full page, okay, something like this. So you want to write some things for your own. Suppose you're building a website and you want to write some explanation of the code which you have done. Okay, so for the explanation part, you can just keep it hidden in the website, but you know that yeah, your code actually contains the explanation of the code. Okay, so you just keep it for reference only. Okay, if you keep it or remove it doesn't matter. Okay, so it's only for you, okay, as a developer or a user. Okay, but like the user who is using the website won't be able to see the comment. Okay, won't be able to see this line. Okay, so I hope you're getting my point, right? So this is a comment. Basically it's really useful when you have some random stuff to write on which you really don't care, which you don't want to show in your website. Suppose you can see this is a random stuff I don't want to show in my website, so I can actually comment it out. So this is commented out, and if I go to the page, you can see you won't see that. Okay, right, that's the purpose. All right, so I think we have some comments here in the live chat. Bro, I am from 12th standard commerce. I want to go for diploma in software engineering. What do you think? Well, I don't know much about commerce as a field. Okay, I'm not sure it's great or not. But if you want to do a diploma, you can actually go for I think BSA is something which can accept a commerce student also. Okay, so you can go for BCA. Okay, it's a proper course, and BCA actually helps you land very great jobs. Okay, so you can go for BCA. Okay, BCA. Right. So then we have, what is UTF-8? Yes, we are going to discuss this. Don't worry. I was just telling you about tags. Okay. The second thing which we are going to discuss is what? Elements. Okay, so first we discussed about tags. Okay, then guys we are going to discuss about elements. Elements is a common term which you would hear a lot. Okay, so what is element? Element is nothing but it consists of starting tag, content, and end tag. So this is a whole element. This is a whole element. Okay, this and this is tag. This complete is an element. That's it. Okay, so now we know what do we call an element. Okay, perfect. Then guys we have the third thing, which is attributes. Okay, so attributes is something which you would hear a lot. Attributes. So for example, if I give you an example of an attribute, so here only in the p tag we can later on give it style. Okay, so style equals, suppose I want to say that the text color must be red. Okay, so style here is basically an attribute. Similarly, you might have something else. Okay, instead of style you might have some other things which you have in the p tag. Okay, so basically whatever you mention here is an attribute. Okay, if I give another example, if you have an a tag, okay, a is a self-closing tag. Okay, I'm sorry, a is not a self-closing tag, and here what we are going to do is we are going to say href, and here suppose if someone clicks on this, I want to take the person. Okay, so I'll just say that this would be saying go to GFG. Okay, here whatever link I paste right now, let me just show you what it really looks like. You can see it's simple text. If you click on this text, it would take you to some route. Okay, what route? So if I just search for geeksforgeeks.org, if I copy this, okay, and if I go back here, okay, and if I paste it, okay, so you can see that now whatever is this is basically an attribute. Similarly, this is an attribute. So I hope you know what is an attribute. Okay, if I click on this, it's gonna take me to Geeks for Geeks website. Okay, so now you know the three basic terminologies, which is tags, elements, and attributes. Okay, I hope you know the basic things. Now guys, I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to say unit 1 is done. So unit1.html. Don't worry guys, I'm going to provide you the source code. Now guys, we are going to start again with the boilerplate. Okay, so this is we call as boilerplate. Any type of HTML code is going to be written inside this. Now guys, we are going to discuss each of them one by one. Okay, we are going to discuss these each of them one by one. So this is basically a basic structure of HTML code. Okay, and the first thing which you usually see is doc type. So this declaration is always the first line of HTML code. Okay, HTML document. It tells the browser that the document follows the latest version of HTML. Okay, so when you see doc type HTML, the simply is an integration. Like HTML has different versions. The latest version is HTML5. So if you want to tell the browser that you are using HTML5, so you have to mention it like this. Okay, if HTML is written, that means you are using latest version of HTML. Okay, if some older thing like HTML1 2 something like that, then you are using older version. But what you always do is you do it like this. You simply write doc type HTML. That means you are using HTML5. You need to tell the browser, okay, that I am using latest version of HTML. Okay, that's the purpose of doc type HTML, right? Then the second thing is the HTML tag. Okay, HTML tag. So HTML tag basically contains your whole HTML code. Okay, it contains your whole HTML code. Okay, so HTML element, HTML tag, basically this actually together complete is an element, right? So HTML element wraps all the content on the page. It's the root element of the HTML document. Everything inside this is interpreted as HTML code. Okay, so to actually tell your browser that whatever you write is going to be HTML code, you have to do it like this. You have to do it like this. Okay, you have to create HTML tag, you have to close HTML tag. Here you need to mention the language in which you are going to write the code. Okay, usually people follow the English. Okay, so you have to just tell the language, that's it. And inside this you have the whole HTML code, whatever you write here. Later on we are going to add script also, so JavaScript would also be added here, right? Similarly we are going to add CSS also. So for that we have different tags. We can just create style tag here and we can write the CSS part here. Okay, so you can see that everything is basically inside the HTML tag. Okay, so if I just remove this, everything is inside the HTML tag. Okay, so that's why we write the HTML tag to tell the browser that we are going to write the HTML code. Okay, so from here we started writing the HTML code. Then we have the head tag. Okay, then we have the head tag. Let me just comment these out. Okay, then we have the head tag. Okay, so what's the purpose of head tag? So head tag is basically a section which contains meta information about the document. Like you see that we have UTF-8 and different kind of things. Okay, so basically here you can see that we have meta UTF-8. Okay, just a minute, let me just read your live chat comments. Okay, I think we don't have any other doubts. Perfect. Hi bro, I've just completed JavaScript. What should I do to enhance my skills? And can I be proficient in JS? Please guide. If you are very good in JavaScript, what you can actually do is you can go for React JS. Okay, easiest option. If you think that you know everything in JavaScript, you can go for React JS. But please make sure first do a lot of projects. Like you can make games, tic-tac-toe game or different games using HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Once you feel confident that I know almost everything in JavaScript, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then jump to React.js to brush up more, right? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so here guys, you can see that head tag basically contains meta information. That means information summary of your website. Okay, it's kind of summary of your website. Okay, so first line here you can see Metachar set UTF-8. So it basically specifies that document uses UTF-8 character encoding. Okay, so it's a type of character encoding which you see on your keyboards. Like basically it's like you're telling the browser that you have A means A, B means B, like that. Okay, so it's character encoding. Okay, if I just search more about it, let me just search for you all. Here if I go and if I just search for UTF-8 characters. Okay, so if you just search for it and UTF-8 Wikipedia, so you can see character encoding standard, and basically your characters are converted into this format. Okay, so you can see that basically your website uses this UTF-8. So it's a standard used by every browser. So to tell the browser what kind of character each means, that means 1 means 1, 2 means 2, A means A, something like that. Okay, so for that you need to tell that you are using this specific character encoding. Okay, so there are different character encodings, but mostly all browsers use UTF-8. Okay, so we need to specify what kind of character encoding we are using. Okay, what kind of characters we are going to write, right? Then after this guys, we have meta name viewport content equals width equals device width initial scale 1. So it ensures that the page is responsive. Okay, so if you see name viewport, that means we are simply saying our page is responsive, and by default the website takes full space of browser. Okay, that means it does not seem to be very short. It takes full space of our browser. If browser is this much wide, that means if you have a 100-inch LED screen, so website would be of 100-inch. Okay, if your if you are watching it in a mobile, so it would be around 6 inches, 7 inches, right? So it simply says it take the space of the device. Okay, take full space of the device, that means take full space of the browser, right? Initial scale 1.0 simply means by default you can see that this is normal. Okay, this is 1.0. If I press control and plus, you can see it zoomed in. Okay, so 1.0 simply means by default it would be 100% visible. I don't want it 150%, I don't want it visible 50%. Okay, if I just give you an example here, you can see by default it's 100% visible. Okay, if I just zoom in, so you can see this is 150%. So by default I want it visible as 100%. That means fit according to the browser. By default you are not zoomed it at all. Okay, you would be zoomed at 1x. Okay, so yeah, that's what I mean here, initial scale as 1.0. Then this is the name of your website, whatever name you want to give. Okay, so if I give you an example here, I'm just gonna write here, what I'm going to write here, something like I'll just say uh, Geeks for Geeks. Okay, so if I just save this, and now if I go to the code, okay, I think I closed it, right? So I think I need to open it again. I just close it. Okay, so I'll just open it again with live server. So you can see that this Geeks for Geeks, you can see that's how the title changes. Okay, so this is what title is. This is what title is. So you can change the title with the help of this, right? Geeks for Geeks. That's it. I hope you got this, right? So now guys, we are going to discuss about the body tag. Okay, we are going to discuss about the body tag. So body tag is nothing but it contains all the HTML page data which you are going to write. You need headings, you need titles, you need form, you need images, whatever it is you're going to write inside the body tag. Okay, so body tag is really useful in that case, right? So body section contains all the visible content of the web page. Whatever you see on the web page is contained in the body tag: text, images, link, videos, or anything else which user sees in the website is inside the body tag. That's it. Okay, so this is the basic boilerplate which we discussed. Now guys, we're going to discuss about some elements. Okay, so we are going to discuss about text elements. Okay, so I'm just going to write here text. Okay, we're going to write here text. So I'm just going to say, suppose I want a heading, so I'm just going to say my heading 1. Okay, so if I just save this, you would simply see that if I go to my browser, you would see that you're getting a heading. Suppose I want to get a smaller heading, so what I'm going to do is, instead of h1 tag, we can actually use h2 tag. That's it. So you can see you're still getting a heading but smaller heading. So in some websites you see we have a bigger heading, then we have some small subsections. All subsections would have some headings, right? So some smaller heading. Now you want one more heading which is smaller. Okay, so what you can do is, here I'm gonna say h3 and h3. Okay, so let me just press alt. Okay, alt, and I'll just press wherever I want to make the change. Okay, so h4 tag, then guys we have h5 tag, then guys we have h6 tag, right? So here you can see that we have basically 6 types of heading, and with the example of 1 and 2 you might now know that only the size decreases, the boldness is exactly same, the size is decreasing, right? So if you need heading which is very small but still a heading, so you can use this. Okay, so it's very useful. Now there are from h1 to h6. Okay, not more than that. We don't have h7. Okay, so we have from h1 to h6, so you can choose any type of format from here, right? So now I want a normal paragraph. Okay, so suppose this is the heading which I picked. Okay, so this is suppose the heading which I picked. I want a normal paragraph. Okay, so I'll just say we have a text shortcut. You just write lorem and you'll get a sample paragraph. Okay, if you don't write, if you don't want to write this, you can write something like You can paste some text from Geeks4Geeks website. Let me just go to web development and let me just copy this, and here I'll just paste it. Okay, so you can see that inside this p tag I have passed some paragraph. Okay, let me just see how it looks. Okay, so you can see this is a heading and this is a paragraph. So P simply stands for paragraph tag, H stands for heading. Okay, that's it. So we have a H1 tag, and then we have a P tag, and then we know about H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. So we know these basic text based tags, right? Now what if, guys, I want to do something else? Okay, for example, I have another P tag. Okay, I have another P tag. I'm just gonna say, hey there, I am Harshal Jain. Okay, so if I save this right now, it would look something like this. Perfect. But what I want is, I want it to be bolder. So what I can use is, I can actually say that I would use strong tags. Okay, so if you write strong, okay, if you write strong, then you would simply see that we have a strong tag. Okay, now one thing guys is, now what is the strong tag? Basically it's bolder, right? One thing which I would like to mention is, suppose if I have a p tag, okay, and here if I just say style background color equals red. Okay, fine, and I'll just say hey. So you can see that it's taking the space of full line. Okay, it's taking the space of full line. Okay, and then we have another type of text tag, which is span tag. Okay, and I'll just give it green color for now. Okay, so you can see span tag is taking only this much space. So these are basically inline and block elements which you would learn properly in CSS later on. But yeah, you must know that p tag takes full space and span tag takes only that space which is required. Okay, so these are some things which you would learn later on in line and block elements. Okay, so I wanted to tell you this. So span tag is another type of text based tag which we learned right now. Now one more thing, guys, is suppose in this p tag you can see that you have basically gotten a paragraph. What I want is, I want to go to next line after this. Okay, that means after the websites I want to go to next line. So what I can actually do is, I can simply say br. Okay, so if I write br, you can see that it got jumped to next line. Suppose if I write one more br, okay, if I write one more br, right, so you can see one more line has been here. If I write one more br, you can see one more line is here, right? So basically this br is used for jumping, adding next line. Okay, so if you write two brs, one empty line would also be added, right? Now we have one more thing, which is m. Okay, so m simply is emphasize. Okay, for example, I would simply cut this. Okay, and just if I write strong here, okay, if I write strong here, so you can write a tag inside tag also, don't need to worry, right? So you can simply write strong here. So if I write strong here, you can see web programming is like this. Similarly, if I write here database management, I want to make it emphasize, so em and then database management. So you can see that this is emphasize text, right? Emphasize text. That's it. So you can just search more about this. If you want to make it italic or emphasize, if you want to make it strong, you can just search about different tags which are basically used for it. Okay, now guys, let's continue. Now guys, we're going to discuss about the one more thing, which is, I suppose I want a horizontal line. Okay, suppose I want to get a horizontal line. Suppose after this, suppose I want to get a horizontal line. So if I write hr and just close it, so it's a self-closing tag. So now if I just go to my browser, you can see you got a horizontal line. So hr tag is simply for getting a horizontal line. Perfect, perfect. Now I think it looks good. Now guys, we're going to discuss the next thing. Right now we discuss about the text based tags. Okay, so let me just comment these out. Okay, right now guys, we're going to discuss about the list. Okay, list. So I'm going to come here and I'll just simply type list. Okay, so now suppose I want to create a list. How can I do that? So for that you need ul. Okay, ul tag, Basically for storing a list we have ul tag. So now in list we have multiple items, so every single item is gonna have the li tag. Okay, so I'm just gonna say item 1, item 2, and item 3. Okay, so that's how you can simply create a list, right? So if I go back here, you can see that you basically got a list, right? Item 1, item 2, item 3. Now guys, suppose I want right now you can see that you got bullet points, right? But I want some numbers 1 2 3 4. Okay, so instead of this I'll just copy this and paste it here. Instead of ul we have ol. So ul simply stands for unordered list, that means with bullet points. OL means ordered list. So you can simply see that if I go back here, you can simply see we have 1 2 3, which is ordered list, right? You can see that you're getting numbers. Now suppose here also you can just change it later on. Okay, you can just instead of this you can display roman numbers 1 2 3, or you can display abc. So that's up to you, but you need to know the basic. So yeah, you know this is unordered list, this is ordered list, that's it. Okay, so now guys we know what is a list, right? Now similarly guys, we are going to discuss about link tag, that means the a tag. Okay, so here I'm gonna say links and images. Okay, so suppose if I want to create a link tag, kind of a button, if I click on that button it would take me to some other website, some other web page, okay, of my own website or for some other website. Okay, so here I'll just create a tag, okay, which is a pair, and here we are just going to say href. Okay, and here suppose I want to mention the url of geeks for geeks articles. Okay, right, I'll just paste it. Okay, go to GFG. Okay, so now we have a text or a button, go to GFG. If I click on that, it would take me to this URL. So inside the href attribute, you mention the URL. Perfect. So now if I come back to my website, can see if I click on go to GFG, you can see that it took me to this page of Geeks for Geeks. Okay, so my website took me to some other website. That is the purpose of a tag. We actually create hyperlinks with the help of this. Hyperlinks is nothing but kind of a button. If you click on that button, it would take you to some other URL. That's it. Okay, so we know how to visit some other URL with the help of a text. Okay, now we have image. Okay, so suppose I want to show an image, so we have a img tag. Okay, and I'll just say that inside this you need to mention the source. Okay, and also I have some mention some alt attribute. Why do we need an alt attribute? Let me just show it. Why do we need an alt attribute? So suppose for example you are blind. Okay, for example you are blind and you want to know what's written in the image. So it's basically for disabled people. Okay, that's it. So some image. Okay, so I'm just going to write some description about it, so you can write some description of the image. So it helps. Some people use read aloud. Okay, so read aloud would actually use this to tell the people who is blind, to tell the person who is blind that hey, the image represents this. Okay, so it's really useful, right? So now if I talk about the src, here you mention the path of your image. Okay, so for example I want to show Geeks for Geeks logo. For example, I want to show this image. So I'll just right click and I'll copy this image, and if I paste it here, yes, you can see that I have this image. Okay, so now if I just copy this URL, okay, copy this URL and go to my code, and here I paste this. Okay, so if I paste this, you can see that I have pasted it, right? Now if I come back, you can see that we have this. Okay, we have this. Perfect. So you can see now you know that how to display an image. Now here we have some more attributes also, like for example you can make the width as 100 pixel. Okay, and height as also 100 pixels suppose. Okay, so it would just change your height and width in pixel wise. So you can see it looks like this. Okay, kind of it's stretchy because of some more properties which we need to add later on. Okay, but yeah, you have this. Okay, perfect. Right, so now we know what is the img tag, what is li tag, what is ol tag, then what we also discuss is the text based tags, right? Now guys, we are going to discuss about table tag. Okay, suppose I want to create a table. Okay, suppose I want to create a table. So I would create a very simple table. So for that we need a table tag. That's it. So right now my table looks like nothing. Okay, because nothing is inside my table tag. Now suppose my table would be having the top heading sections. Okay, so for the top heading sections we have tr. Okay, that means label of the columns, right? So we are going to label our columns. Okay, so this is the first row. First row is usually for labeling the columns. Okay, like here if I write th, okay, and if I write name, okay, and copy and paste, and we have age. So th is nothing but showing some kind of heading. It's showing some kind of heading. It's like just like a text based tag. It's showing some kind of heading. Okay, so now if I go back and you can see that you got this in bold. Now what happens is, suppose I would mention some people in my table. So for that, to mentioning the data, we use the tr tag. Okay, to mention the data we are going to use the tr tag. Suppose the first person, so for mentioning the normal text we use the td tag. Okay, so the first person is suppose Harshal Jain. Okay, and the age of that person is suppose 30. Okay, suppose we have one more data. So I'm just gonna say the other person is Virat Jain and age is suppose 35. Okay, now if I come back here, you can see that you simply got a table. Okay, so that's what is a table tag which we have in HTML. Perfect. Now guys, this is the table tag which you can use. Later on you can learn more about it, how to get body boundaries and so on with the help of CSS. Okay, but yeah, this is it. Now guys, we're going to discuss about form tag. Okay, so suppose you want to create a form where you want to take user details like name, age, gender, and you want to ask them to select a subject, physics, chemistry, maths, like that. Okay, so how can you do that? So for that we basically need a form tag. Okay, so form tag is a tag which generates a form acting as container for various input elements, name, age, gender, etc., like text fields, buttons, checkboxes, and more, which we are going to discuss, right? So for that we have a form tag. Okay, so form tag is here, right? And here you might see something in future you would need it for your backend, but right now I'll just say action equals nothing. Okay, here what you want to do with when someone submits this form is mentioned. Right now we don't have anything, we just have plain HTML code, so we don't need to learn about this. But yeah, this is used when you have some kind of backend or you want to do something with the form. Okay, so yeah, action. Inside this you create the whole form. Right now if I just show you my form, you can see nothing is here. Why nothing is here? Because nothing is written inside this form, right? So for example, I have to take input name as input. Okay, I have to take name as input. Later on I want to save that data into my backend, into my server. So I have to take name as input. So I'll just say name type equals text. Okay, and I'll just say placeholder equals enter your name. Okay, let's close it. Okay, now if I just show you, can see that you have this input field. Whatever you want to write, you can write inside this. Okay, so inside this you can mention one more thing, that is name field, and it's like user name. Okay, so when you want to target this with the help of JavaScript, so you would simply target username and you would get the data written inside this. That's why I've given this name. Okay, so similarly guys, you have one more thing is, this was simple text which you pass in your name, right? Suppose you want to pass passwords. Okay, so you're just gonna say the type of this would be password, enter your password. Okay, name, password, that's it. Now let's just check. So you can see this is the name field, you can write the name, but if you write the password, you can see automatically it became like a password. Okay, so you can see or unsee it. Okay, so that's the benefit of using these input tags. Now guys, similarly we have checkbox. Okay, so for example, I have to create a checkbox, so we have to give the type as checkbox. Okay, and let's say subscribe. Okay, and in this I would simply say we don't need the name field. So okay, we need the name field. In future you might need it, so just mention the name field. Okay, subscribe. and the value inside this, you can give any value. Okay, you can give it a value as 1 2 3 whatever value you want to give, you can give it. Okay, so this text is not related to this value. Okay, so these are totally different. So here after this I am also going to mention subscribe to our news, okay, newsletter. Fine. So if someone clicks on this, you can see it looks like I am asking the person to check on the checkbox so that they are subscribed to our newsletter. Okay, that's why. So whenever I click on the checkbox, this value would be targeted. Okay, that's why we have the value. The value can be same as subscribe. The value can be anything you like. Okay, whatever value you want to send to the JavaScript or your backend, right? Then guys, we have radio button. So again, I'm gonna copy and paste it, and we have radio, right? Radio. So here I'm just gonna say that name field would be containing gender, for example. Okay, value of this is, suppose whenever I click on this I want to select male. Okay, and here I'll just pass male. Okay, and I'll just say we have a br tag here. Okay, we have a br tag here, and again I would simply say the value is female. Checkbox is like only one option can be selected. That's why we have to give them exact same name. Okay, don't forget this. Okay, so now if I come back here, you can see if I select male, if I select female, so male is gone, right? One thing which I would like to do is mention br before this. Okay, so you can see either I select me, if I select female, then I select male, you can see only one can be selected. Okay, so that's the purpose of radio buttons. Okay, these are called radio buttons, right? Then guys, if you want to write some long paragraph, like you want to have a comment section where you can write a big paragraph, so for that we have just like this one. Okay, just like this one, we have a text area. Okay, text area tag, which is again a part of form fields. Let's close it. It's a pair tag. Okay, not a self-closing tag. So here I'll just say, suppose the name would be comments, I'm giving it for comments. Okay, and suppose I want here rows as, okay, first of all let me just give it a placeholder as some comments here. Okay, and if I just save this, and now if I just show you, you can see that you'll get some comments. You can just write some comments, you can just increase the size if you want, like this. Okay, so if I refresh, you can see by default it's getting some size. Suppose if I want to change its size, so how can I do that? So here we can mention that we have rows. How many rows does it have? For example, I want to mention 4, suppose 4 rows, and columns I want to mention as suppose 50. Okay, so if I just save this, and then if I show you, you can see that the size actually changed, right? That's what is used for, right? Perfect. Now we know some basic elements, basic things which are used. Now guys, we have some comments in the live chat. Let me just read that. Sir, can you please guide how to make projects for beginners? You can just simply think on your own. For example, you are a college student, so you can make a personal portfolio website, right? If you have built those kind of projects, then you can make a project like, if you know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then you can make JavaScript games like tic-tac-toe game and so on. So these are beginner levels. You can make a JavaScript based calculator, right? If you only know HTML, then you can make websites like, which static websites like product landing page, or personal portfolio website. I don't think so much can be done with basic HTML knowledge, but yeah, you can use this much knowledge. You can create tables, proper tables, decorated tables like Excel sheet page. Okay, you can create an Excel sheet page with proper design using simple HTML and basic CSS. Right, so some basic projects you can just search on your own. Yeah, you can just use Chat GPT and different AI based tools to just search projects for beginners. I know this much, this much. What projects can I make? Very easy. Okay, so now we have some more. I'm pursuing BTech third year. I want to be a full stack developer. Please provide some best source to reach it directly. Okay, overall, I would say search on YouTube what's trending. Okay, so few years ago, Mon was trending. Still, it's trending. But yeah, you need to search what's the trending thing. Okay, first you know the trending thing, then you can simply find the best mentor which you like. I won't say that this guy is best, this guy is not best. It's someone you feel about. Okay, you feel, okay, so this person has taught MERN stack, but I don't like the way he teaches. So what's the point? Some other person has also taught Stack, but I like the way he teaches. So you can go with that person. So it's very simple. You can just simply search on YouTube and find your own person. Okay, I would suggest that. Okay, please don't go for any recommendation. Okay, this teacher is good, this teacher is good. No, go with the person who you like best. Okay, so I'll just deal with some more of your live comments later on. Let me first continue with the session. We are running out of time. Okay, right, so now we know the form tag. So we have discussed all the form elements which we wanted to know. One more thing is the button tag. So suppose you want to submit this form, so for that you need a button, right? We need a submit button. So you're just gonna create a button, just give it text like what must be shown on this, and the type of that button must be submit, so that the browser would know, okay, this button is used for submitting the form. Okay, later on it would be really useful, but you need to always mention the type here. Okay, for form you need to mention the type as submit. If it wasn't inside the form, then you can mention the button directly, but for the forms you should mention type submit. Even if you don't mention it, that's also fine, but yeah, it helps better SEO website, makes the website more ranked higher. Okay, if you do very small things precisely. Okay, so you can see that you got a submit button. So if you write something and if you click submit, so you can see it will basically submit. Right now we don't have any backend, so it does not do anything, just refreshes everything because nothing is written inside the action, right? But yeah, this is some basic form elements. These are some basic form elements which you must use. Okay, now guys, we are going to discuss about, okay, one thing which I missed out is select option tag. Okay, suppose you have to select some options. Okay, for example, I'll just say select. Okay, and let's close this one. Suppose I want to have some countries. I want to select one country, so I'll just say name equals country, just give it a name. Okay, and here I'll just say option. Here I'll just say suppose India. Okay, copy and paste China. Okay, so if I just save this, you can mention as many options as you can. So if I come back here, you can see that you got select option, right? Perfect, looks good. If you select China, it's China. If you select India, it's India, right? That's it. So these are select option tags which you can use. Now as we discuss what is form, we created a simple form. Now guys, we are going to discuss about attributes. Okay, so we have some common HTML attributes which you would see. For example, if I have, let me first of all close it. Suppose for example, I come back here, or maybe just uncomment this part. Okay, so now let's see. You can see right now we are able to see this. Okay, so if I give it an ID attribute, okay, so first common attribute which you would see is ID attribute, and suppose I would say this is intro. Okay, so what I can do is I can use this ID attribute to target this specific h1 tag in JavaScript and also in CSS. Okay, so for example, if I say style equals, and to target the, suppose I want to give this red color. Okay, red color. How can I do that? I need to target this attribute. Okay, so I can simply say, just write hashtag. Since it's an ID attribute, so you need to write an hashtag intro and close it. Okay, close it. I'll just say color would be red. Okay, color would be red. So now you can simply see that the color is red. So basically ID attribute is used for targeting the element. From wherever you target the element, it would be getting the properties. So from here I gave the properties, this element would be targeted, right? That's very easy, right? Now similarly, suppose I want to say that we have one more attribute, but first of all let me do this. So here you can see I have given this ID attribute, okay, which is intro. Again it's an ID attribute but with the same value. So you cannot give the same value, you have to change the value. Okay, so you can change the value but never give same values for ID. But suppose it was class attribute. Class means a group. Okay, class means a group. ID means a single element. So you can give class attribute. So this is second type of attribute. So if I write it like this, okay, class as intro, class as intro, suppose I'll just say my element. Okay, if I just paste it, now here if I just say that to target the class attribute, we have class, and I'll just say suppose background color is aqua. Okay, so now guys what you would see is you would see that both the attributes are gonna have this. Okay, I did one mistake, which is my element. Okay, write the name here. So my element, it has a background color. Okay, so now here you can see that both of them has a background color. So if you have some common styles which you want to give in a lot of things, so you can just give them classes, common class names. Okay, that's it. So we talked about id attribute, we talked about class attribute, then we also talked about style attribute here. Okay, so this is another common attribute which you use a lot, which is style attribute. So you can style the elements directly with the help of style attribute. If you don't want to write it in the css, you can directly style the elements in the style attribute, but usually we don't do that because styles are usually a lot of properties. So if you write this line would really become bigger and it would be really difficult to understand the code. So it's always to follow this systematic approach. You define the element here, you define it styled here. Okay, that really looks cool. Okay, fine. So this is it. Now what else you can do is you can do some more things like inline stylings. For example, this is the p tag, right? This is the p tag. So right now it looks like this. Okay, this looks like this. So what I can do is I can just give them some inline styles. For example, if I say that the text color is green, so now you would see that we have green text color. Perfect. Now what else can you say is you want to give it some more properties. So after this you can simply write font size as 20 pixel. Okay, so you can see that font size increased. Okay, then what else can you write? You can write the same thing. So background color as suppose yellow, right? So you can see you got the yellow background color. Okay, so these are a lot of properties which you can give very easily, right? So this is what we call. Now guys, some more things is we have talked about almost about everything which you would see in html, usually html pages. After this what you can see is usually we have some tags. Okay, so we have a header tag. Okay, you would see this tag a lot. Okay, so header tag is usually kind of tag which represents top section of the website. Okay, top section of the website. Inside this usually some heading is given. Okay, some heading is given like my web page. Okay, then some navbar will be created. Okay, some navbar would be created, something like I'll just create a list of elements here. Home, copy, paste, home, about, contact, right? So you can see that basically inside header tag generally you mention these type of things which you want to show at the top of the website. Okay, top of your website. Top of your website means simply this part first. Okay, not this top, I'm talking about this top. So at top, if you want to show something, you mention it inside the header tag, the header part of your website. Okay, now guys, what else do we need is we talked about header tag. Similarly we have footer tag also. So this is some type of tag which you want to mention at the bottom. So footer tag. So here also you can mention some things like copyright and so on. So this is what and copy. So it would give you copyright symbol. Okay, so if you want to search for different symbols, you can search on Google. To get copyright symbol, you need to write and copy and like this. Okay, so website name and like this. Okay, so here you can see we basically got the footer. So this is the header. Okay, this is the footer. Let me just give it some basic background color. So here I'll just say if I talk about header tag, if you directly want to style the header tag, you can do it directly here. So I'll just give it background color of red. Okay, then if I talk about footer tag, to target footer tag, and I'll just give background color of blue. Okay, so you can see that I have talked about the footer tag and header tag. So you can see that it looks like this. So it would be header and footer would always be mentioned in the last of the website, copyrights 2024, like this, right? Then we have the nav tag. Nav tag is basically used for creating the navigation bar. So we have a dedicated tag for using navigation, right? Then we have the main tag. So main tag is usually used for designate the primary content area. Okay, excluding the headers, footers and sidebars. If you have some main area where you want people to focus, for example, if I go to Geeks4Geeks website, if I go to Geeks4Geeks website, so homepage, so you can see that suppose this must be mentioned in the nav tag. Okay, the proper top part, header tag, right? Suppose this part is important for me. Okay, so I'll mention it inside the main tag. I hope you're getting it, right? So that's how you can use a main tag also. So we have some main tag also. So here we can just come and mention the main tag. Okay, main tag, and inside this you can mention anything. You can mention multiple paragraphs like this. You can mention any image you like, whatever you want. So it's like the main section of your website. Okay, so main tag. Then guys, we have section tag also. The section tag just divides content into thematic groups. Okay, for example, I have one section. For example, I have one section. Okay, so inside this section I can just mention h1 tag, uh, I am Harshal. Okay, and p tag lorem 10. If you write lorem 10, you will get 10 words. Similarly, I copy this. I want to create another section, but for some other user. Okay, so Viraj and another some text. Okay, so this section is basically used for dividing things into sections. So this is first section, this is another section. So section tag is basically used for it. Now another thing is, instead of all these, we can use div tags. Okay, we can use div tags just like this. So we have a div tag which can be used anywhere. But the problem here is when you talk about styling, so you have to give them proper classes or ID, whatever you want. For example, I'll give it header class or header ID, whatever I want. Simply, I'll just give it a class of anything I want, my data one. Okay, anything I want. Then I can style this. Then I can style this here. Okay, so instead of the header tag, now we have header class. Okay, so instead of footer, now we would have footer class. Okay, so here I'll just go to footer. This was my footer, right? So you can see I still also wasn't able to find my footer because it's not written. Okay, so that's why we have specific dedicated tags, like we had the footer tag. If you don't have it, you want to use div, you can use it like this. That's also fine. So I've given this class as footer, right? So you can see it's still the same, but yeah, that previous part was more systematic, more helpful, right? So guys, that is the purpose of HTML tags, which we talked about almost everything today, right? Then guys, now if you have any doubts, you can mention in the chat section. Sir, what programming languages are trending now? According to me, I think Python is trending a lot right now. I don't know about others, but Python is trending a lot now because I talked about some people who are working on Google, and my big brother, like family friend, is actually working on Google. So there he actually mentioned that he was basically a DSA programmer. Okay, and he did it with Python. Okay, so Python is right now in trend because Google is also building the AI part. So I would say that yeah, you must go with Python because Python has lots of AI based functionalities. It also does web development, it also does plain DSA programming, so it's multifunctional. Okay, it has multiple purposes. So that's why I would say Python is right now trending and you can go with Python, right? So now that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. This was all which I wanted to talk about. Now I'll just upload the source code on my GitHub repository so that you can get the source code from there. Okay, so let me just go to GitHub and I'll just create a GitHub repository. HTML one shot GFG, and I'll just upload the whole source code. Okay, actually kind of we don't need this. Okay, so I'll just say that this is what we have. Okay, the main code which we did today. Okay, so I'll just upload it. Okay guys, so I have uploaded the source code. What you need to do is you just need to visit my GitHub repository. Okay, what you can do is you can just search for github.com/viraj014. Okay, you can just simply search for this on your browser. Okay, or else you would get that in the comment section later. You can just go to my profile, and also you can follow me here. You can check out my social handles, and in the repositories Oh, GitHub is having some glitches, right? So you can see that GitHub is having glitches. Okay, anyway, so you can see that this is where you can get all of my repositories. One of that is HTML one shot GFG. So if you don't find this, you can search the repository name here, you'd find the repository. Okay, so inside this, you'll get today's source code. It's available here. So we have index.html, which contains all of the code which I created today. Okay, so very much useful things. Thanks a lot for amazing explanation. Hats off. Thanks, Masrad. So I think everyone enjoyed this session, and if you want more of the sessions, like upcoming session would be based on CSS, then JavaScript, and so on. Okay, so HTML was short, that's why I was able to cover this in one video. But obviously in future, if we learn JavaScript or something else, we need some set of sessions, right? So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any doubts or queries, you can mention in the comment section. After we end this video, the recorded part would be available in this channel only, right? So I will see you in the next one.